Blessed of Strangeness podcast, episode 23. You read the title, you're correct. A quick recap look back. Yeah, it's a quick recap look back about mental health conditions. So, like I was saying, last week or so? So, yeah, like I was saying last week, that how there was some mental health related issues, and like a look back of like how it all got started, and so to basically just go from there. So needless to say, obviously, look back at some of the other episodes from the mental health to where I've talked about this, to where these other basically just how these mental health conditions and medical conditions all had started in the first place. If you missed that video, I highly suggest you check those out. They are also available here on the podcast channel. And this podcast is also being recorded in real time. So anyway, as a quick recap, a look back of things, like I said, that was covered about how it all got started, the whole mental health thing. And, there are people out there who don't think that any of this stuff is actually real. That was also covered too. And, welcome to the podcast. But, I just, personally, I do not agree with the people out there that don't think that mental health is real and that those type of conditions related to that are real. And there's also people out there who don't think that medical conditions that people who have mental health related problems have. Well, actually, it is real and they do really have those things. Oh, not to interrupt or anything, but you're reading that correctly. That's just something I got a couple weeks ago, actually. I waited to show it till just now. But anyway, so there are people out there who like to judge people who have mental health struggles and medical conditions. And those people, I think they're lacking something in their own life. I really do. And I want to know what that is. Why they have to sit there and judge people who have mental health related issues and struggles. So do these people not think that this is real? Or do they think it's real? Or do they think that they don't have it, that they're just doing it for attention? No. It's not for attention. That's for sure. Well, yes, there are some people out there who will do those things for attention, which is true, and we all know that. But not every single person who struggles with mental health related issues is going to have is going to do that for attention. No. Yes, some people are doing it for attention, but not everyone. That was from earlier. Anyway, so another thing with that, what I've noticed, I see this all the time. So this person that I know who does have some anxiety problems, and other types of mental health conditions and some medical conditions. It's just this person that I happen to know who has all that. There is a person in their life who that is a relation to them that literally sits there and acts like that their mental health issues and their medical conditions aren't real, who will sit there and literally judge them for it right to their face by making a cocky, smart remark to this person. And this person that makes those cocky, smart remarks is doing it just to be a fucking asshole. But yeah, I have seen it with this person that I know. And I don't like it. And you know what? I just do not understand why people who have mental health conditions have to be judged like that. They should not be judged at all. I mean, a lot of people, it's not their fault that they have a mental health condition or medical conditions or both. Those things just happen, and a lot of time sometimes the situation is to the point to where it's so far gone that there's just no doing nothing about it, and just basically just dealing with it. Yeah, just dealing with it, literally. So that's basically what I just wanted to go on about really quick. And that was covered in a couple of previous episodes. So now, speaking of things, I just want to interrupt really quick to say that this podcast is also being recorded in real time. And it is episode 23. And yes, it is a safe space for you. You can feel free to share your experiences with mental health conditions or medical conditions, or someone who has mental health conditions where someone is sitting there acting like their problem ain't real, someone who's just being horrible to them for like no apparent reason. Feel free to share your story on that if you need to. Here you can. You can actually email the podcast, and I will actually read your email right here on the podcast. So that's what I would like majority of you to do, is just email the podcast and go from there. If you have something like that you want to share, that's fine. It's really not a big deal. That's, like I said, that's why I make this content on here, because I just hope that, this does help people and others who are going through this type of stuff. Anyway. So now, I just wanted to say that really quick. Now back to the video. So, with all that stuff being said, you're probably wondering why I keep showing this badge. Well, the Area 51 badge that I keep showing, it's just a badge that I ended up getting, and I was waiting a while to show it on the podcast. I just wanted to say that too. And there's actually a second badge in there, if you look carefully. Yes. There's a second one in there. I know. Anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about, to say, and I'm going to, because I can, because it's my show. My show, my rules, my terms, my conditions, my policy, by the way. So, another thing, yeah, so if you're already subscribed, thank you. And also, if you're new to the podcast or my channel, or just finding it for the first time, it's great to have you here. You're welcome to the channel. We want to welcome you, and we'll go from there. And thank you all for subscribing so much. It means a lot to me. Greatly appreciated. Just know that. Oh, anyway, now, before I forget this again. So next week's episode, something a lot of you may or may not have heard about this podcast is supposedly how it's supposed to be canceled. It was supposed to be, but I decided not to do that, and there will be more about that in next week's episode for episode 24. And like I said, you'll find out more about that. Like I said, I just hope that this content does help anyone that is struggling with any type of medical conditions or any type of mental health related issues. I just know you're not alone with that. I know what that's like to struggle with those things. Myself, I do have some anxiety issues and some other things going on. And, just know you're not alone. It's okay. Just know it is okay to struggle with that. These things are okay. I also have something else too that I need to get taken care of, and just waiting for some medical records for something. And the place I talked to the other day still has not received any medical records or the other piece of information that they needed. So I did make phone calls and try to figure it out, but apparently, as of Monday morning, my ass is going to have to sit down and remake them phone calls again for the second time to figure out what in the hell is going on. But it's honestly at the point, it's like, why do I need to keep making these phone calls to figure this out, to get this problem that I have taken care of, when I already made the phone calls? Knowing that I already made the phone calls, I do not understand why on earth they need to be remade to take care of it. I just don't understand that. But then again, I'm not surprised. It's such a broken system out there that it's just horrible, to be honest with you. Speaking of broken systems, this is something I'm going to mention. I'm going to bring it up. I know another broken system. Apparently, YouTube actually also is another broken system. I am pointing that out. They know it. So is Google. Google is, even though YouTube and Google are very successful, they are still a broken system. Besides, so are cell phone carriers too. Yeah. Another broken system company, or a system that's broken, is Apple. Yep. That's true too. So are people who have medical problems and mental health conditions where they have to get a certain type of government assistance through a very, very broken system. Even honestly, you know what? Even the healthcare system is broken. A lot of systems are actually broken. They need to be fixed. They need to be fixed, but yet no one is doing a damn thing about any of it. Okay, so certain systems that are broken are trying to be fixed, but even though they're in the process of trying to fix them, it just feels like the other ones, no one's doing nothing about those ones. That's what I'm actually referring to when I say that. That way, so there's no confusion. So I just wanted to talk about that really quick. And speaking of things, yes, I do have my iced coffee, as you can tell. So I don't know if I should share this, but you know what? I'm going to share this anyway. A while back, I got this. If you look here on this badge closely, you see this little pin right here? Where my finger is? I got that a while back because the place where I get the iced coffee from, I actually gave them a compliment. That's how I was able to get that pin. And come to find out, that pin is actually a corporate level pin where usually customers aren't supposed to have that or end up with it. But since I gave them a compliment for always making my iced coffee correctly and never having a problem making it, and also never refusing to do so, that's actually how I got that pin in the first place. Believe it or not. So yeah, I know, I think I covered a lot already, but I'm just doing a quick recap back of majority of my episodes on here. So if things are getting a little random, I apologize. So, there's actually a funny little story to this pin. The funny little story to that pin is another location to where I would often get my iced coffee from sometimes, from time to time, which I don't anymore because there was a problem. This other location, one of the employees, one day randomly, so they have a self-serve station, and I went to go make an iced coffee, even though I really didn't want to use the self-serve. So I did, trying to be a good customer. And there's no paper towels over there, hardly nothing. No paper towels, no straws, no cups, no tops to the cups, nothing. Zilch, shit, literally. Sitting over there, and I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So, the one employee who's seen me in there before, she sees me over there making an iced coffee, and all of a sudden it accidentally spills all over the place, which I had no control over. Unfortunately, it was an accident that happened. So, I just look at her, and I just put my head down. I'm like, oh my Lord, this looks horrible and terrible. I was like, do you have any paper towels or napkins or something? She just looking at me, shaking and sighing, shaking her head sighing. I said, oh, for fuck's sake. I said, I don't see what the big fucking deal is. So then, she was like, having a attitude-ish, and I was like, seriously? No. So then, she cleans it up, which I would have cleaned it. All she did was bring me some fucking paper towels, which I asked her for, and she sat there and ignored it like a dumbass. So that was on her. So I was like, all right, whatever. I said, well, you know what? You should have just made me an iced coffee. I wouldn't have had to use the self-serve. Oh, she didn't like hearing that. I said, well, if you had made it, it wouldn't have been a problem, now would it? So, some time goes by. I go in there again, She's working again one day, and I was just like, her and this other girl was working, and I was like, hey, could one of y'all just make me an iced coffee because I don't want to use a self-serve? Nope. I said, no. You're going to make me an iced coffee. I do not want to use self-serve. Get it through your head. So, finally, one of the other girls was there, and she was like, I'll make it. I was like, okay, cool. girl who I've seen in there before, this other one, a nicer lady made it, a heavier girl. I was like, all right, that's fine. And then this one other lady in there who I know outside of the place, or a lot of times she'll make it for me without a problem. Because she knows I felt uncomfortable with the self-serve after that accidental spill. So then, all of a sudden, so the one refused that day to make me a nice coffee, and I was like, okay, whatever. One employee refused, another one was like, I'll do it. I was like, okay, cool. So I put a complaint in because I didn't like that. How one refused to do it for no reason. Then, this is where it gets good. The employee who refused to make it in the first place must have gotten spoken to about a complaint. Because I had said to one of the girl that I know that works there outside of the place, I was like, yeah, I had a complaint about one of the employees in here, right? She was like, who? So I told her, She went back and told her. I was like, wow, you fucking two-faced bitch. Really? Talk about being a fucking two-faced bitch by doing that. I was like, all right, whatever. I said, fine, be that way. So then she finds out about the complaint. Then, so I go in there slightly after like the next day. This employee, she's fucking literally standing behind that counter, glaring at me the second I walked in. Glaring at me, giving me daggers. I looked right at her. I said, first of all, and second of all, I do not want to use the self-serve. When I request an iced coffee, you will make it. What you want to refuse? That's going to be a problem if you have refusal on your end as a goddamn employee. I don't play that shit. I said, so you know what? Too fucking bad. So sad. Do your fucking job, and there won't be a fucking problem. Now, would there? She just looking at me, and I said, you know what? Yeah, I did complain about you because you're a bitch. I said, and I'm sick and tired of your refusing bullshit. How you refuse to make fucking iced coffee when it's part of your fucking job in your fucking job description, too. She just looking at me. And, I knew the cameras were sitting there recording everything. I said, you know what? Let him pick it up. Maybe the point will finally fucking get across and they will see your fucking refusal as a fucking employee. Then, this work gets even better. So, the reason the second complaint was filed is because of her giving me that glare. Then, the girl who I know outside of the place, when I told her about how I had to file those complaints like that, she had nerve to tell one of my relatives about that. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. When I found that out, I was fuming even more. That's for sure. That'll piss anybody off in their right mind when you say, excuse me, but you know what? Forgive me for being pissed and cursing like that, but you know what? I had every right. When I know what their damn job title and job description is, when a customer goes in to any of their locations, requests a nice coffee, they're supposed to make it, whether or not if they have a self-serve. And it is a store policy. I checked. I looked. I even had their corporation confirm that for me. Yes, I did. So, therefore, I knew who was right and who was wrong in that situation. And the sad part is, these two employees, to this day, still both work there and have their jobs. Which I think is a bunch of BS, that they're both still allowed to work there after refusing, and then one have a nerve to run her mouth. Seriously? That to me, that's uncalled for. That shit does not fucking fly with me in a workplace. Even if I'm a customer, or even if I was working there, that does not fly with me in a workplace, period. But you know what? They had nerve to not say anything to this employee hardly. Well, they must have because she got mad. But yeah, they have nerve to keep her. I would have fired her and let her ass go right then and there. But that's on them. You know what? Just wait until she refuses to do that to someone else. And I guarantee you, when she refuses to another customer like that, I guarantee you they will turn around and file a complaint just like I did. I said, how many complaints is it going to take for this location to wake the fuck up? Too many, apparently. I said to myself, unreal. You know, if they didn't refuse to do what they were supposed to, my ass wouldn't have had to turn around and file 2 complaints. That's for sure. But her actions was the exact reason why complaint number 2 was filed. By glaring at me like that, that is uncalled for. But, you know, if a lot of you were there and had seen the situation and how it all unraveled and how it all unfolded, you'd probably understand it a little bit better. But like I said, you would have had to have been there. You would had to have been there to see it and see the problem. Why I had to do what I had to do. Well, the minute when the mouth runner decided to run her mouth about this, oh, boy, did she. The mouth runner said, oh, well, she's my friend and my coworker. Now she may, oh my God, she may lose her job and she may lose her source of money like this. And oh, you don't understand, she's been here for years. I don't give a fuck how long she's been there. 1, she's just a regular employee. 2, she's not management. But yet she acts like she's management when she's not. And her refusal of service, uncalled for. And I said to myself, you know, I don't give a fuck. Your coworker was an asshole to me, / bitch to me, and that ain't gonna fly with me. That's for sure. Now, you know, just unreal, the whole thing. That was a very bad freaking experience in my life. That's for sure. But you know what? I don't bother going to that location anymore after that. And I know they both still work there because I know both of their vehicles and what they look like and what they drive. Yeah, I know. Because when I've been there before, I've seen them get out of those vehicles into the parking lot to go in for their shift, for work, for their job. That's the only reason. That's how I know. But you know, it's just the whole thing was unreal. And now, another thing. So, like I said, I just choose not to go in there anymore, and that's the chapter on that to close that story out. Of course, I may mention it again from time to time, but I can if I want to. Oh, also, just know that you can actually also start your own podcast too, believe it or not. You could literally start it for next to nothing, like $0 or a few bucks. You don't really have to spend a whole heap of money. You don't have to spend lots and lots of money to actually start your own podcast. Believe it or not, you could actually do it for very cheaply, believe it or not, for a few bucks to literally next to nothing. I know, ain't that hard to believe? That's what I thought too. I said, wow, that is hard to believe. Oh, good Lord. Oh, this pollen count has been so high this year. Like every year, making my allergies worse. And worse. And worse. I swear. But well, what are you gonna do? I guess. But anyway, so now another thing I was going to mention. So um, if you had seen one of my other episodes to where I said something about Hollywood, the way they actually treat people who are famous, Hollywood actually does treat people very badly. Not everyone, but some people they do. So there is actually truth to that. I mean, you could literally sit there and Google it, look it up on the internet, get your own facts, get your own research about it, and I guarantee you, there is a lot of truth to that. But see, I know that there's actually truth to that, and I'm not wrong about that. I mean, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, there's no truth to that. There never has been. Actually, yes, there has. And there is. The truth is out there. Somewhere. Now, some of my other episodes, I've also talked about the alien encounter abduction that happened to me when I was about 12 years old or so. Yeah, that's mentioned in a couple episodes. So feel free to look back at that and watch that if you want to. Also, there was also the other things that I had mentioned in some of them videos, also about the paranormal encounter experiences that I have had. And I know I did mention in one of those other videos something about slumlord landlords. Yeah, that's a real thing too. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff mentioned about mostly just about random stuff and random things. Hey, I mean, that is the name of the podcast, Blast of Strangeness. And yes, I talk about all types of different things. Just know that as well. Was there anything else? Oh, yes, there is. So, now, if you have not seen any of my other episodes, they are all the other episodes, including this one. Well, not this one yet, but it will be. All the other episodes are available to watch on my YouTube channel page thing, along with my email address to email the podcast. And so feel free to go back and watch all my other episodes if you want to get caught up on the podcast episodes. Feel free to watch those. They're very entertaining. They are all recorded in real time. And yes, this episode right here, right now, will actually also be available it will be available to watch on YouTube afterwards. It just has to be uploaded. And then after that, it'll be available. So stay tuned for that. And, so, all right, I'll give you all a little hint about next week's episode. So, I ran into a little bit of a situation to where I had to deal with me personally, but this person that I know and me had to deal with a relative who was basically just being their usual horrible selves, pulling their usual shenanigans like always. That's part of something that has to do with the reason of why the podcast was going to be canceled in the first place. Yeah, but me and this person that I know rethought about things quickly and decided that the podcast is not going to be canceled after all. The podcast will keep going. Don't you worry. No worries at all. So now, anyway, welcome to the podcast. Also, welcome if you're new. Re-welcome if you're already watching. So anyway, so now mental health. I'm telling you, I think a lot of it goes back from birth to being born with mental health conditions and medical conditions, and it probably also doesn't help like grade school stuff like that. That's probably where it comes from birth, and then it goes from there to when it's time to be put in grade school. And then I think the combination of those two things, and then just throughout the school years, I think things get worse. And then after that, once you're out of school, once you're out of grade school, and when you're either looking for a job shortly after, or whatever else you're doing, there's probably things there that may also contribute to mental health conditions to make it worse, and the medical conditions. I think there are things at jobs also that are work related that also contribute to that as well. Now, I could be wrong about that, which is a very strong possibility. But you know what? I'm not surprised if I am. If I am, I am. Now, I'm just going to name a few mental health and medical conditions, such as there's anxiety, that, a lot of people have it. Some people have bipolar disorder. Some people are also have schizophrenia. Some people also have MR. Some people also have a very short-term memory. Some people are also not in the right mind. Some people are also just very mentally ill, which is very unfortunate. And, a lot of people have a disability who are disabled. And, a lot of people are handicapped. And, a lot of people are elderly. And, a lot of people actually are on government assistance too, that may have these conditions or who are just very elderly. But you know what? There are so many things out there that could literally make, there's so many things out there that could actually make your mental health conditions worse and your medical conditions worse. Like I said, there's so much stuff out there that could also contribute to it if you're already struggling with that type of thing. There may be people who you feel uncomfortable around that may trigger your mental health too. And, there may be people you don't want to look at work or out in public. But, there may be people in your life, even a family member or something, who you may feel uncomfortable around too. That could also be another thing that could also trigger that too. For example, some people are, addicted to alcohol, and then when they're no longer addicted to the alcohol, they may still be struggling with those things. And, some people are also addicted to drugs. And, once they're no longer addicted to that, they still may struggle with that. And, some people also struggle with the weight, which is unfortunate. But, it does happen. But, there are some medications out there that do contribute to some people to make them gain weight. It's medication that's supposed to help for their for their mental health problems, but it's also making them gain some weight as well, which unfortunately that does happen sometimes. Matter of fact, I know some people who that has actually happened to, and it's very unfortunate. But I mean, they're still okay people. I mean, I still talk to these people. I mean, I still like having them around. But you know what? I'm not the type to judge them for that. In fact, there's another person that I know who is basically in reality who's a bully, who sits there and knows all about them, all about themselves, and who loves to brag left and right. And the sad part is, I know exactly who they learned all that from. The bragging, the smart, cocky remarks, the bullying, the thinking they're better than everybody else. And they also think that mental health conditions and medical conditions are not real. And the sad part is, I think one of them actually has a condition. I really do. But they're not going to tell anybody that. Oh, of course not. Oh, God forbid. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, you know what? I know when I'm right. I also know what's what. That's the truth, too. But the sad part is, it's like when you know something, like, like what's real. Like, you could tell some people who bully other people actually are lacking something in their own life. That's for sure. And you know what? I'd like to honestly know what these people are lacking in their own life to bully other people for no reason. That's another thing. But you know what? I see these problems. I see this stuff all the time. And I say to myself, unreal. You've got to be kidding me. Like, seriously? Why? That's what I would like to know personally. Well, but I would like to know. And another thing, what I also would love to know is how on earth some of these people who are bullying other people and judging them for whatever the reason may be, why are they allowed to get away with it? That's what I would like to know. But you know what? I would literally do anything to know that. I don't know why, but I just want to get to the bottom of why these people feel that type of behavior is okay. Now, does anyone actually know why that they think that type of behavior is okay? Anybody? Anyone? So I've wanted to know that for quite a while now. But you know what? It just may be one of those things, you know what? I may never know. And if I know, I know. If I don't, I don't. Either way, it's fine. I just wanted to say that all real quick. Was there anything else? Not that I know of. I will see. Well, actually. Okay, so also don't forget to make sure that you come back next week, and I will see you all. And I'll see you on the next episode for episode 24. Bye.